going on, everybody? It's your brother, Big Mike Hankins. Sending love to all of you guys. We're talking about our HBCU podcast we just did at Night Shift Studios. I brought these people together so we could talk about HBCUs, the experiences that they all shared and had while they were in school. We have sisters here from Tuskegee in the house, Elizabeth City in the house, Bethune-Cookman in the house, Langston University, of course, representing. I attended Central State University, which is in Xenia, Ohio, and then my other sister, Milagros, Delta Sigma Theta in the house. So sorority and fraternities are big with this. Pay attention to the podcast because you'll learn a lot about us. You'll learn a lot about what we talk about, what we're doing in the communities in Tacoma, Seattle, and Portland. You may not see my mentor, Dr. Audrey Terrell, Datai Institute, but she is in the house and she will be at the panel on May 13th. We love you guys. Let's make it work. Hit those books. Central State, which is the Marauders, right across the street from Wilberforce, which is the first historical black college university. I spent a lot of time on the campus at Wilberforce, but this is needed, and so we brought this together with my brother Kerry tonight to bring these people together so they can talk about this experience, so you students will learn more about it, and we can get more of you guys out in the neighborhoods, into these universities and these colleges. It's needed. It's paramount. We need that. So whoever wants to chime in, whoever wants to talk right now, we can. Monique, you looking real amped up right now, representing Delta Sigma Theta over there.
Always, always. So glad to be here. Thank you. So glad to meet everybody. It is needed. I am Monique DuBose, representing Tacoma Alumni Chapter, Delta Sigma Theta, Spring 13, here with my line sister. And you know, I am originally from the ATL, and by way of the military, I am in Tacoma. But my daughter just can't wait to attend HBCU. She heard a lot about my experiences and just the things that I got to do on campus, and just the camaraderie, the love. You know, even though I'm from Atlanta, just seeing a lot of African American, a lot of black people just, loving each other. The culture is so rich. It was just an experience going to Tuskegee, because I'm growing up having to learn and grow with, it's not, people that I don't have to compete with. We all doing great things. So it just feels good. So glad to be here. And I'm sure we'll get into more. Greek life is amazing. Delta Sigma Theta is amazing, right? That's right. So educated, sisterhood, just love, and I'm sure we'll get into more. So that's me. Representing so many things, but we're gonna get into it. Let's do it.
Milagros.
I'm Barbara to my license.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the only one here that did not go to HBCU, but I can explain why. So I went to Birmingham High School, so like military. They didn't talk about it.
Nobody knew.
The only thing that we heard about even remotely close, like minute, was the Teachers of Color Conference at WSU, and that was I was president of Black Student Union when I was in high school, and we got some money together, and we went to that Teachers of Color Conference at WSU in Pullman, and I was sold. I saw black people, and I was like, that's where I'm gonna go. And so I went to Washington State University for my 4 years to get my degree, but there was no talk about HBCU, about anything of what that acronym even means. But that, to me, that's generational also. Our families, they didn't go, they didn't talk about it, and so it just kept going down and down. Even though my parents were college educated, they didn't go to HBCU either. But yeah, Greek life was on Pullman at the time, but different circumstances led me to cross alumni chapter in Tacoma. But it was something I was introduced to, but still very hesitant.
13 September. We did that. Okay. Look, wait a minute. I have to put us down. You put line sisters together.
It's a blessing, but you know what? More sisters need to see this for real. They really do. And I'm going to share something real quick about Delta Sigma Theta. I'm going to say this. I did Spellhouse about 6 years ago, and the Deltas shut it down. They pulled in the Morehouse with charter buses, red blazers, white bell bottoms, and red stilettos, and shut the whole spill house down. So that'll always be a memorable experience for me. They did that thing, and it was all like doctors and lawyers and stuff. Yeah.
How we do?
Not surprised.
I'm surprised. Like, yeah, we do. We do that.
Okay. My name's Kyra Cavato, and I graduated from Bethune Covenant last May. Let's give it up. Since then, I've started a marketing business, and we've been growing with that.
Okay, perfect. Dejan Johnson, resident of Tacoma, Washington, Foss Falcon, and Langston Lyon alum. Technically the furthest west HBCU before the nursing school that was at HBCU in California was shut down many years ago. So I'm still representing the West Coast in Langston, Oklahoma, home of the, well, not Langston, but Tulsa, home of the Black Wall Street. So I think it's very important that that's stated, just because there's a lot of history that is not taught in any of these states, let alone a lot of Black history taught on the West Coast. So I think it's very important that we made an impact in showing the history that is over there and bringing it back home for students and family members and people that don't have the capability or experience to obtain that information. So it was very important for me to help start the pipeline with Michael Hankins. We helped foster over 25 plus students just at Langston University and a couple other schools. I can only speak for Langston because that's my alumni, but and then went out there and represented. You know, people, you ask them, you tell them you're from Washington State, or you tell them you're from Washington, they ask you DC. You know, so by the time I graduated, they didn't ask me that no more, and they knew exactly where we were coming from and how we represented every year, and graduated with honors and things of that nature. So not just going to attend and, you know, drop out, but going to stand out was our big thing. Business owner now in Tacoma, Washington, and using my platform to let kids know that you can do stuff independently and stuff like that, but having the education is very important to have, just out of respect, you know. So yeah, it's a blessing to have gone to HBCU. I have many friends from a lot of places because of going to HBCU. I can travel almost anywhere and have a friend or a connection in any state I go to, which is a blessing. And you know, just trying to inform kids of the importance of looking at those options. I know a lot of kids apply to almost every Washington State school and don't even blink at any of the HBCUs. So I'm here to kind of help tell the story of why you should go to HBCU. I'm not Greek, but I have a lot of Greek family, and they embrace me because of how I was raised and how I carry myself. So I'm just hoping to spread that same knowledge and energy, you know, to this younger generation, and hopefully, you know, one day we can build our own HBCU out west. You know, shout out to I forgot his name right now, but he just opened up the HBCU in Detroit, Michigan. One of the Black men that work at Pensole in Portland, Oregon. So, you know, based off of connection, I have a friend that went and spoke at that school and for marketing and things of that nature. So it's crazy to see the connection that HBCUs will have in terms of like an audience and a fan base. So yeah, this is a powerful connection to have. I think all Black people need it from everywhere, but especially the ones here in Washington. You know, we have churches, basketball teams, barbershops, but outside of that, I think there's a bigger culture of Blackness that kids out here don't always get because of how diverse it is. So being able to take those opportunities are very important. So yeah.
And I'll chime in real quick about Langston, because my son attends Langston right now. He's a sophomore at Langston, agricultural finance major. He's the president of the agriculture program at Langston. But I think the thing that's really important about the state of Washington with Langston University, like Dejan said, this is one of my students who went there, but I've sent over 20 students to Langston University, and out of that 20, 18 of them have graduated with honors and a degree. I mean, so that says a lot about our young blacks, you know what I mean? And I had a chance to tour Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street in October, and I would say this, every person needs to go visit Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I say it's the truth, I felt like I was like in 1920 when I went there and walked down the streets and avenue where they burnt down the buildings. A lot of people don't know that they're rebuilding them same buildings, new restaurants, law firms, all that on those streets in Tulsa right now. So I would say go check it out. The pictures are amazing, but being there, seeing it live, man, they make you cry. You know what I mean? It was live.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, so hey, my name is Shakundi Salisbury. A lot of people in the community here in Tacoma, most certainly Seattle and across the state, know me as DJ Kun Love. I am a proud graduate of Elizabeth City State University, which is located in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, the state with the most HBCUs. I also serve as the president of Epsilon chapter, the alumni chapter, Seattle Sigmas, that was founded in Seattle 55 years ago this year. So yeah, I'm the president of our fraternity here locally, not in Tacoma though. Shout out to the Tacoma Sigmas that are doing their thing. And that's Sigma chapter. And so yeah, I am a third generation graduate of Elizabeth City State University, where my father attended and my great aunt attended. And recently in December 2021, my daughter Alma graduated with a degree in biology, letting us be proud to have 4 generations of family members that have attended our institution. And I also concur with the rest of the members of the panel here. Seattle and Washington State in general, we just really need to do as much as we can to get the word out about our schools. These are some of the last places where you can see people that look like you, that are from top to bottom. and it's just a great feeling to be able to see the chancellor who looks like you, all the way to the chief of police and campus security. They look like you too. So regardless of whether you are exceeding and doing the things that you need to be doing, or you might have some challenges and opportunities, the people that you are dealing with at most HBCUs, I would say, obviously I haven't been to all of them, but the thing that I like about HBCUs, and especially mine, of course, Elizabeth City State University, is that everyone there is invested in the future and the success of black people, and they want to see you do well. You're not just a number. People, and sometimes, of course, as freshmen and sophomore, I think probably most people here hated that, right? Because they, what are you doing out? Go to your room, or these kinds of things. But we was treated like family, and I think that's why, we're all super excited to come here today and talk about our HBCUs and our organizations, because at the end of the day, they are a family, and they're not just a number. It's completely different than most PWI organizations and institutions. So with that being said, if you've got some questions about Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, or Elizabeth City State University, or just HBCUs in general, please put them in the chat. Looking forward to the rest of our discussion here today.
Let's do it.
Well, I did run for office, right?
Question, sir.
Mike, what do you want us to talk about next?
So, my thing is, I would ask this question to you guys that are in the Greeks first. So, what is Greek like to you guys? Because I know when I was on campus and taking the students to visit the homecoming stuff, of course you see everything. You see AKA, you see Delta, you see Sigma, you see Alpha, KK Psi, all the Greeks. So I'll start with Monique. What made you want to be a Delta? And you pledged as grad chapter, right?
I did.
Okay. But you went to Tuskegee, so you seen it, and you grew up in Atlanta, so talk about it.
You know, I would say at Tuskegee, I was so, I guess, involved in, just building some real good relationships. I'm number 7 of 7 girls in my family. So, I've always had what some would call a clique, but my people, my girls, my girls. So I was, learning about, just building relationships with different women. Honestly, just what that looks like, and just being a part of a community that wasn't my family. So it was like, okay, this is awesome. But what I learned was, just seeing Deltas and seeing all the different fraternities and sororities around campus. It's like this is something different. It's got to be different. So just talking to them, and of course I went to all the parties. Of course, but what I saw differently is that in Tuskegee, which is a very small community. I mean, if you know about Tuskegee, you know about the chicken coop, right? Like that's the chicken coop. You hang in the chicken coop, you know about that. But just seeing them in the community do so many great things, education-wise. I mean, for the just building up the community. That is what inspired me. But due to certain different circumstances, I did not pledge there. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. So, of course, and many years in the military and traveling all over the world, every chance I got to participate in something that the Deltas were doing, I wanted to help out. I wanted to get in there, and was able to do that a lot. I was stationed in Germany. Hung out with Deltas there. I was stationed, in Alaska, hung out with those that in Alaska.
Wow.
I was in what they call Fairbanks, Alaska. Fairbanks, Alaska, near Anchorage. So just spending time with Anchorage Deltas, and then fortunately in Tacoma. And here in Tacoma, the person I saw most, and I know a lot of you might know Melanie Cunningham.
Yeah.
Like she was like moving and grooving. I'm like up to it. Die hard. I saw that, and we became really good friends. And the Peace Queen was back then, and 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I've known her, and she was doing amazing. I was like, I could be a part of this, and we became really good friends.
Okay.
Found in that sisterhood just between us, and she's like, Monique, hey, just do it. So
I didn't know Melody. She's sponsored all my stage shows.
Absolutely. She was just an ideal Delta sisterhood, love, friendship, being able to communicate. Of course, highly educated, and it just really in Tacoma representing and doing really Washington, just West Coast wide, just doing some great things. I knew I wanted to be a part of that. And then I found 13. Then I found 12 other amazing women that that were educated. My chosen, they and now we are part of Delta Land. It's just seeing that coming from like going all around the world though, and then finally deciding to do it. It's been a great just a great opportunity to be a part of such an amazing organization, and still working at it. Still working.
That's awesome.
I mean, and when you talk about youth, that is one of the things that we highly are connected to. So, and we have what I would like to call we have a lot of educators. One of our major things that we really focus on is education, and a lot of my sorors are educators.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your brother, Big Mike Hankins, sending shots out to the community and getting ready for the 2023 second annual HBCU tour. Panel and forum was coming up next week, Saturday, May 13th at 10 a.m. at the Village Enrichment Center, 2901 South 12th Street, Tacoma, Washington. We're going to have guest speakers there that are currently in HBCU schools, current HBCU graduates and parents of students who graduated from HBCUs. It's going to be live. It's going to be real tight. We're going to have some music. We're going to have some nice conversations. Great stuff going on there. Lots of information. Bring your notebooks. Bring your pen. Be ready to ask questions, answer questions. But hey, once again, the HBCU life is extravagant. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's lovely. We love you guys. Sounding out. Peace to all of you. Hit those books and get that education.
With black people.
I was a DJ for all the stuff shows.
Right.
That's 22 years. I did 12 of them.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Dr. What's name that passed away that was at Wazoo. He made a big impact on black students.
Yeah.
That's what Tafana and Brandon and all of them.
Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to say why I chose Delta in terms of
Right.
How'd you get there?
he was going into talking about relationships. And so what it was, I also had a roommate that crossed Delta when I was at WSU. So I saw a little bit of the background as well. I was a close friend with the Omega. So I saw it, I peeked it out. I even went to a rush for Delta. But just, once again, circumstances, it didn't happen. And that's okay. But I have a lot of friends from WSU that are Deltas. And so I would go to them after I graduated and have lunch with them like, yo, tell me about it, like what's it about? And they wouldn't tell me nothing. They were like, do your research. Do your research. You figure it out, you know, go online, whatever you need, you read this book, all those types of things. And so I was really still kind of closed-minded of what I wanted to do. And then shout out to Darla Johnson. She's I know Darla very well. But,
we know Darla.
everybody knows Darla. That's my soror. Come on now. So I coached the step team at Wilson High School. We're both stylists now for about 5-6 years, and then she had her step team, which was the Delta Gems.
Yeah.
And so we used to battle every year, and either it was the Wilson, my team won, or her team won. Like literally for the past 5-6 years straight, it was either my team or her team. Huh?
You guys was tight.
We were.
You guys represented them on the show.
Yeah, those are my babies. Mama T, that's me. But so I used to see her all the time, and she used to just be like, "Sister, what you doing with these kids is amazing." And then I used to see what she did with these girls, and I was like, "Okay, this is part of the organization." Okay, so just once again, just soaking up the knowledge everywhere I went. I was just soaking up knowledge. And then she, just like you said, someone kind of invited them in. She called me up one day and was like, "Be ready at 2:00." And so it just happened that way, and I'm so blessed that she did because of where I'm at now. But yeah, that's how I got introduced and how I got in, and I've worked ever since. I crossed when we are our 100th centennial, and been working. I'm the chair of homeless and self-sufficiency. We do things with schools. We donate. We clean up. We have a street. Over there by POU, we have a street sign, Tacoma Alumni Delta Sigma Native School.
And they're adopting your brother's accused. They're adopting the street right back in my house. They're doing that. They're doing it right now. One of my closest brothers is he's from Chicago. He's to the house the other day. The accused are doing their thing, but they've been doing their thing though.
So the biggest thing is just I wanted just to put out there for kids and families too. If you have no idea what we're talking about, just do your research. And
Divine
just really
Nine.
who you know and have those conversations and observe. So those are like I said, see them out and about. She invited me to dances and to different scholarship banquets and things like that. So I used to just be there and be in the atmosphere and be like, this is something I want to be a part of.
Yeah, you know what I take from your comments is the fact that like I mentioned when I was talking, is that we have a legacy of service, right? And just like our HBCUs have a legacy of commitment to black people and the uplifting of black people here, and really the sons and daughters and descendants of slaves, black people here in the United States. Most certainly, what I really like about what you said is that so it's never too late, right? To be, whether you're in one of our organizations or not, it's never too late to be of service to your community. And what I love about your story is that you saw this legacy along this whole entire time. You was at Wazoo, you saw that. You came home, you've been of service to young people, teaching, doing dance classes and dance teams. I don't know if you do this, but I run Buffalo Real Sugar. Okay. Right, and so we're bringing it back. In fact, anybody listen, Buffalo Brown Sugar is June 17th. The June edition at Garfield High School. And we are looking for step teams that want to participate, but I guess that's the point, right? And I see that, and I think I see that with most people that went to HBCUs and people that are in our organizations, and that's why this is an excellent conversation today. I see that most certainly in your business and how you trying to serve community. Like he's out here making clothes. You don't have to do something for community around. Of course it's synergistic because it helps the brand too. But at the end of the day, being of service to our community, and I think that's the key thread of why I came here today, and I'm refreshed to re-energize when I hear this thread of service, and whether you pledge on on college like I did, or you pledged in grad chapter, or you didn't pledge at all, you most certainly we all have a place for service to others, and everybody here is really trying to uplift and educate the next generation, because it's really we're just on the timeline, if you will, right now. Like we're curators of our space on the timeline. And as we look back, 30, 40, 50, even 100 years ago, those people were curating our timeline. What's going to be our collective legacy? How do we take care of these institutions? How do we move the culture forward, if you will? So, I just wanted to say that I was inspired when you heard that, because you led a lifestyle of service, and now you plugged into this organization that's going to allow you to even do more service. And that's just a good thing, because, and I guess that what I would close on that part, right, of the inspiration is that a lot of people, especially young people that may be watching this, you kind of hear about fraternities, sororities for the parties and for hanging out or getting chicks, whatever, or getting dudes or whatever that is, and most certainly that has its place in it as undergrads. But the reality is what we were founded for is exactly what she just described, right? And she's taking her life of service and she's channeling it now into this organization and using that platform to even do more.
Every opportunity
salute to you.
Talk to kids about what it is, their own exciting is one thing, and I tell them it's some hard work as well.
Oh, yes.
It's not easy all the time.
I'll say this. Being a director of the MOCA program, it's starting to come. I've had a chance to work with the Seattle schools, Tacoma schools, Portland, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. And being around the Pan Atlantic Council, I was one of the spokespeople for the UNCF in Seattle when they had the shows at Garfield, the tour shows and stuff like that. And my cousin was very instrumental. She was the chief of police of Seattle, Carmen Best. And we both spoke on the panel for UNCF, and dealing with them and dealing with students is big. It's work, but it's needed. You know what I mean? It's really needed. And the tours, the symposiums, the seminars, the weekends, stuff like that, if more of our children can experience that right there, we'll be better off. So we won't have to worry about all these senseless shootings and senseless deaths and stuff of our young people. And so when I started the Black College Tours, like 14 years ago, my goal was to take kids off the corner and put them in an environment where they could see other professionals that look like them. You know what I mean? Whether it was in North Carolina, whether it was in Texas, whether it was in Atlanta, where I wanted them to leave out of the state of Washington and see something different. And so we've been fortunate to support, I think, over 100-something students that went on Black College Tours since I've been doing that. And a lot of them have went to school afterwards. And some of them went to PWIs. And I say PWIs because some of you guys may not know what that is. That stands for predominantly white institutions. That's the jargon. And I respect those schools, but like Cub was saying, the slave part of the HBCUs. So like when you go to certain schools, some of them schools are like plantations. Like when you go to like Texas Southern, Prairie View, you go to Prairie View, they have real antebellum chance to experience that with a lot of students, and it really resonated with the kids. And they were like, man, we didn't get a chance to see this, but a lot of those kids, either their uncles or great uncles, a lot of them come from down south. You know what I mean? A lot of our family members come from the south, where a lot of the HBCUs are, and so when you take them out of their element and they see something different, and they can latch onto it and see that these are people that look just like me, and they're doing stuff, doctors, lawyers, dentists, you know what I'm saying, businesses, fraternities, sororities. It's kind of like, it makes you smile, makes you laugh. And that was one of my biggest things, taking the kids on tour. I just want to sit back and see their expressions, you know what I mean? Because for me and my wife and my own children, it was like, man, this is so amazing. Then when I took the kids across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, that experience right there made me cry. I had 30 students kneel down on the bridge where they had Bloody Sunday at, and just to have the tour guide tell us what the KKK was shooting black people and stuff like that, it was an experience I thought I would never experience. To see those children, to see what they experienced, was like, wow. And then going to like Martin Luther King's house and down Auburn Avenue, and seeing the tombstone at Tuskegee of Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver, you know what I'm saying? Man, it's amazing. And so I encourage, if you guys get a chance to experience either a Black College Forum, a panel, or a HBCU tour, I'm gonna tell you, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. The homecoming, there's nothing like it. I've been to homecoming. I've been to a Wazoo homecoming. I've been to a UW homecoming, and I've been to a Portland State. I respect them. I love them. There's nothing like going to an HBCU homecoming.
Absolutely.
I'm just sitting here thinking about just going to school there, like going to school on a campus, just being around people where you didn't feel like you needed to compete. Because everybody was, looking good, smelling good, hair right, just that feeling. It was unbelievable.
When there's no competition, it's a completely different game, honestly. We're all gonna thrive. We're all gonna do great things, it's completely different.
I would say, I agree, of course I agree with most of that, but one of the funny stories that I tell people about my HBCU experience was when I got down to Elizabeth City, and I remember this clear as day. I had Mr. Coleman, he's my math teacher, and Mr. Coleman was so cool, and I'm sure, most people have experience they was doing here or whatever, but Mr. Coleman would come into the dorm, and he was getting his hair cut in the hallway by Chopper, right? Everybody had a person, whatever their name was, I think everybody here had somebody that was doing hair down the hall, whatever it was. That's an HBCU thing, right? And in Butler Hall, it was a guy named Chopper that was cutting people's hair. And so Chopper would cut Mr. Coleman's hair, and Mr. Coleman was cool, right? And I had just y'all come from Seattle, so I'm super excited. First of all, it's black people everywhere. We having a great time. It's lit, as they would say, every night. And we on the yard, and Mr. Coleman he wasn't that much older than us, right? He wasn't like this tenured, old school stuff. He was in the dorm with us, so I really thought he was cool. And so, being young and naive, seeing Mr. Coleman around, and he, what up, Mr. Coleman? Hey, what up, young? And so needless to say, we're going through math class, and I'm messing up. I'm not turning in my assignments. I'm not doing well. And needless to say, we get to the midterm, and I'm basically, failing the class at this point. And I went back in to talk to Mr. Coleman, and I was like, man, what happened, bruh? I thought we was cool. I thought we was all. And he was like, what do you think this is? Everybody here is black.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so on the flip side, right, maybe we might not all thrive, because if you're coming down here thinking that everybody is cool and you're gonna get the hookup or whatever, right? Because that's like around here, coming from Seattle, you see the black person working in Denny's, and you the other black person, you kind of hitting them with the chin up like, put some extra fries in there. They probably gonna put some Even he knows he got the black business, right? And people want to hook up. And in general, around here, since there's so few of us, we do expect to kind of get some kind of special treatment from each other. And so when I touched down on the yard, and I went and told, I tried to get finagle my grade from Mr. Coleman, and he just, he was like, no, that's not how it works. You need to do the work if you're gonna be successful here. Salisbury, right? It's all
out for you though.
But that's what I said when we first started talking. As I said, we was treated like family, and sometimes in your family, your parents or whoever, they gotta chastise, they gotta slap you on your wrist and say, that's not how we do it here. Step up. Right, and so the point of that story is that yes, we most certainly want our young people from Washington State, the Northwest, and the West Coast, places that aren't used to seeing these HBCUs, but most certainly do not think that you're just gonna come down here and ride for free. The other part of that, what I tell people in these black college fairs when I'm talking, is that once you get on the yard, and I kind of alluded to this when we first started talking, is that, your race card has gone out the window. And so if you are doing bad or campus security is knocking on your door, ain't nobody profiled you because you were black. Like, if you got a black chancellor, the head of security is black, the campus police is black, whatever you're doing, and we all probably did some stuff, drinking on campus or whatever, hanging out, breaking a couple of rules. Whatever that is, it's because you either did that, right, or whether it's an achievement thing, an academic thing, or like I alluded to earlier, a challenge type of thing. Nobody is picking on you because you're black. So it's the gift and the curse, right, that you can excel and be around our people, but at the same time, if you're coming from whatever school district, maybe way out, where you was the only black kid there, or you and you can say, because a lot of times, we have teachers, and everybody here knows some educators, right? We talked about the educators, and so as parents, we have a lot of teachers here in Washington that most certainly are, I would say, oftentimes don't have black children's best interests at heart. We see it in the school test scores.
Right.
But at the same time, and a lot of parents probably won't admit it, we have students, right? And everybody say, not my child, but we have students, right? That in fact take advantage of the fact, and instead of doing some of the work, they most certainly would say, well, I don't think she like me. I think she racist, right? And so that's
probably true.
And that's probably, but it is probably true to a certain degree. All I'm pointing out is if in fact you are, and I'm talking to the potential students right now, period, if you are that person that is used to playing the race card, instead of doing the work, you need to look in the mirror before you come to an HBCU, because you are not going to be able to play the race card. This teacher is not racist against you, right? It might be something else, but it most certainly, they're not hating on you for the color of your skin, right? So that's probably where that is.
I hear you as a parent, like you said, my daughter attends a school where she is one of two in her graduating class. She's black child, and going on our HBCU, our tour. She looking wide-eyed, like, look at all these black parents. That made me feel, I'm like, oh, that's a little, I'm nervous. It's different, what do I tell her? So, we have to, even though she lives in my home, so she's raised right, family, still different. So I just, what I offer her often, and we talk about it a lot, is that, again, not necessarily playing a race card, but know that you are here to do what you're supposed to do, and everybody else is doing that. Like, you don't have to compete because you've had to do that so much. And she's spent many nights crying about that piece and the teachers and that kind of thing. But you go into somewhere where, everybody look like you, and you're okay, and I feel safe. And so we've been on,
I was gonna say safe spot.
A safe spot, right? And we've been on a couple of, like I said, until we went over to Fisk, And man, Tennessee was lovely. Tennessee State, and then even going over to Vanderbilt on that side because they were all so close. It was okay. But when we hit Atlanta, Georgia, Clark Atlanta University,
One of the best universities
and
out there.
going around to Morehouse and Spelman, and my family, my sisters went to Spelman, but just being around, I'm looking at her and she's not even doing what she is. Mom, just don't do nothing.
Yeah.
Mom, just sit still. She's like, oh my goodness, everybody, she was just as calm and cool, I was like, okay, I'm feeling good about this, but I talked to her more and more about just being your authentic self. She talks a little bit about, and I know y'all heard of, what is it, when you have to change.
Code switching.
The code switching. They talk about that a lot here in Tacoma. Like, a lot, you have to code switch. I said, look, that's something that you will not show up authentically. Find ways
It takes practice.
It takes practice.
It takes a leader, and a mentor to show you that. Because our kids don't know how to do
Right.
They don't.
It's something all day.
That's true, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you what Monique is saying is true because, like for me, for instance, I grew up in an all crip neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And I went to so many funerals. You know what I mean? And so, being in that environment, when I got a chance to leave the streets and go out there and see what was different, I was like, wow, it's like this. And so when I started doing the HBCU tours, my first question to all the students was, or I would say this, every trip we took, I said, listen, while we're here for these next 5 or 6 days, I want you guys to count how many white people we see. That's what I would tell them. And I just want to see the expression. Like, why you say that? I think you're going to go to grocery stores, you're going to see black people working. SWAT team, police officers, you're going to see black people working. And then the professors and stuff in the school, the presidents of the school, you're going to see black people. And then when we come on at night, discussion, I'm like, how many white people did you see today? And they'd be like, I think I only see white people in the airport. And I was like, that's really true.
But I
There's
just,
so many sides to it.
yeah,
I feel,
yeah.
because even with our, excuse me, sister, interrupt, but I can only speak for myself. Like, yeah, I look black. I grew up in a black family. But to think of, and at that age, I graduated at 16, so I was a baby. So when I got accepted to Bennett, I was like, I'm scared
Yeah.
to be around a bunch of black people.
Yeah.
Like, on the real, I am scared.
Right.
My whole life I've been called an Oreo. So what do you think the black people gonna call me? If the white people calling me Oreo,
Yeah.
what the black people gonna call me? So I really felt like I'm not going there with all those black people. So we have kids too that have the flip side. The kids that are in the street that see something different, like I want to do that, and you have the ones that are excelling that are like, I'm not gonna be accepted by white black people because I'm different. So it's
and as a parent, that is what my point was. As a parent, that's what I worried about initially. But it does take long. It takes time. So I have, not something I would work with her forever, but always, know who you are, be authentic, show up, be your authentic self. So always showing up. And if
a lot of parents don't do that.
A lot of parents don't do that. And that's where, like, you hit a big word, mentorship. You gotta have people in your space, in your world,
Right,
that just latch on, and that's something you were talking about earlier, some of the things that we could do. I mean, to give back, we all need to, fraternities, sororities, all of us need to work together and become mentors to, we are curated, like you were talking about. We need to do that for our children.
And I think that's where it comes to, because we've been talking about what it looks like for the people that are next, but we have to talk about the people that have already gone through it. So I think it's very important that we set the standard back home. We're all in this room, but it's probably the first time we've all been in a room together in terms of the HBCU energy. We've probably been in the room for other things, but in terms of the HBCU, because what's happening is our kids are leaving here as black kids, culture shock of blackness, So I have the privilege of living in Alabama in the Gump for a little bit before going to my HBCU, which is in a predominantly white state. People like there's an HBCU in Oklahoma, so I wasn't culture shocked about being around black people at the HBCU. I was culture shocked being a black person in the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma. So I think a lot of kids aren't getting the true shock-proof, vest to help them be ready for because nobody should be afraid to be around their own people.
Right.
So and that still happens to this day, still. So I think that's what it takes for us here to, have these quote unquote yard moments to where from young to old can be on a park, and have a moment to embrace music, food, culture, art, and all these other things to where like you see a glimpse of it in your hometown to where when you go out into the world and see it on a bigger scale, you know you're prepped and ready for it, So I believe, that's one of the things that MOCA helped prepare a lot of the mentees and students that came through the program for was you're going to see black people, but don't be shocked and don't be scared to see your own kind, So I think that's where it comes down to people like us to set the atmosphere for it out here. So when they leave, they're already ready for the world, So.
So Dejan, so I want you to share with them your experience. When Dejan was ready to go to college, this is my cousin right here. He didn't know what he was doing, so I called one of my closest friends, who's a recruiter and a counselor at Lynch University, but he's white. And when I say he's white, but he's black, he's an alpha. He went to Lynch University, but he grew up as a foster child. And so he grew up around black people, and his name is Kyle Gregory. And Kyle's been to my house so many times. He's recruited so many students from Garfield, Rainier Beach, Franklin, Lincoln, Falls, Portland. And so his experience was funny because when I let him talk to Kyle for the first time, Kyle sounds black, but he's straight white.
Yeah.
But he's a great individual.
Yeah.
He was in the band at Langston University. He's also a lawyer as well, and he's a great person. And so his experience was a little different when I had Kyle. Even when Kyle came out here to recruit students, they'd be like, he's a recruiter from Langston University? I said, yeah, he's white. Well, I said, but go talk to him. I guarantee you'll see something different. Go talk to him.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, and it's very important because I didn't apply to any schools in Washington State. I was going to go to Memphis and be out there with some family, or there was a Christian school that I was going to maybe attend in Chicago. But when Langston was brought to my attention, because I always just wanted to go to HBCU. When I lived in Alabama, I knew about the Hornets, ASU, Alabama State University. So there wasn't another option for me. I didn't want to. I was gonna take a year off if I just didn't go to HBCU. But Kyle came out here and we talked, and we made it make sense financially and the whole nine, and I was able to get a scholarship and even help. My god sister now. We laugh about it because she got a full ride to go to Portland to play golf. She holds state records in Washington still for being one of the few black women to play golf and place in state. And she was already packed up and ready to go, and I told her to take a risk with me and go to the HBCU, and she did, and it has bonded us beyond measures just because of that. So, there was a kid that came to the shop the other day. He goes to Annie Wright, and he was like, yo, Daz, do you have to be black to go to an HBCU? I said, do you have to be white to go to a predominantly white school? And it shook him a little because he was like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't even think about it like that, But he went out to Howard University just this past weekend and had a great time out there, and came back and was just so excited when he came back and talked to me about it. But that's what it's about. It's about us setting that example of kids know it's an option. It's not your only option, but it's an option, And he's fair-skinned too, so for him, he's just like, I just want to make sure it's cool that I can go there, and it's like it's built for you. Some of these lands can only have an HBCU on this. It's a land law that they have. I think there's about 18 HBCUs that the only thing that can be on this land is the HBCU. So it's literally here for you guys, and we just have to shop that to them, because I watch it every year. Kids apply to all 10, 15 schools. Yeah.
Even college is pushed on
we
from every single high school.
In that particular, not to talk about different schools, but in that some of those schools, they only want them to apply to the UW. And my daughter went in with I'm going to HBCU. I'm telling you, like, why do you want me to do that? But it was required that she applied to all the UWs, and it was, of course, she got all of them. And even I was going to speak about sports a little bit, because even with sports here, a lot of these kids are really good. I mean, Monet, she's been, tapped in with a lot of sports stuff. But she want to go to HBCU. So she said, you know what, I'm going to walk on. I don't care, whatever it takes. Thank you, Peter, but I'm going to walk on.
To HBCU is way better.
In sports. So I would love to hear your story about just the sports arena around that.
100%.
Coming from here.
Yes. So my mom
Good stuff.
I gotta go.
Good stuff.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
My sister.
Before you leave, just tell everybody what you do, or like if you got social media you want us to promote, or any type of business or anything like that.
Of course you do. Come on here. You come back here. I'm in the chair.
Just one last, thing, so I did.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a school counselor in Tacoma.
And you said that's how
No, I'm at the online school actually.
Okay. But you're drill team now.
I was. That was back in the day when I met.
She can still do it. She's amazing. Reach out to her. Shout out to Milagros.
But I went to Tacoma schools, so I know a lot of the Black educators, administrators, counselors, community partners, etc.
My mom.
Yes, your mom. Oh, I love it. Your mom came and subbed. Man, she was a.
I didn't mean to stop you. I just wanted to make sure
No,
we
you're
had
good.
a little promo for you, because I want to make sure I promote everybody.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
what everybody
And
does.
I'm here representing Tacoma Lucky Chapter. Tell us some big stories.
All right.
Treasure.
Yes, ma'am.
Staying down with Delta without signal.
Wait a minute. What is the Delta?
Like slide over in her spot and then
Stand up, one.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about your sport.
Yes. So my mom had me at 16, so she went and played at Cookman as well. And so I went down with her, and I was living on campus. I was all in the coach's office, getting babysat by a volleyball player. So I've been at Cookman since I was 4. So I played under the same exact coach, but I played travel ball in Puyallup locally, and started the recruiting process around 16. I wasn't specifically looking at HBCUs. I did talk to quite a couple. North Carolina Central, lots of North Carolina schools. That was my dream, to go to North Carolina. I love it there. But at the end of the day, Cookman, I had family there with the coaching staff, and then after so many homecoming visits, I just could not go, But I worked very hard. I did lots of recruiting. I played every single weekend for 1 whole year. But now I coach. Now that's been my main way of giving back, is coaching. And big philosophy I have is being a lifelong learner and giving that, because softball gave me many opportunities. Lots of the people I work with is because of softball connections. And then it has just evolved through college and on. Thank you. But yes, I coach out in South Kitsap. I used to coach in the Puyallup area, but.
Can I speak on your behalf for a second? So I have to, because she's that amazing. And so when I sat with her and both my cousin last year, they came and spoke on the HBCU panel that I had at the Access last year. And just hearing her story, this young lady is very driven. She has her own business, she does her thing. And so I have to highlight that, because you're amazing, and I appreciate it, because you're an inspiration to a lot of other people. And like you said, the younger generation, they need to hear stuff like that, because my thing is, you can do it too. You know what I mean? You can do it too. Your daughter's gonna be going to Clark Atlanta. She's gonna have a heck of experience up in the Clark Atlanta campus so many times. I had a couple students that attended school at Clark Atlanta and graduated from there. And so, it's gonna be off the chain. Hey, we're all here. And he'll be there too. We'll all be there. We will all be there. Definitely. And it's a heck of an experience. And the food and you know what I like about it, Cub said something earlier. What I like about it is the generations of people. I mean, like you said, the daughter, the fourth generation graduate from Elizabeth City. My thing is, when you go to these HBCUs, a lot of times, especially like down south, you talk to people like, oh, my grandmother went there, my auntie went there, my uncle went there, my grandfather went there. And that says a lot about our culture and our people, you know what I mean? And when it comes down to it, there's nothing like having a family that has experienced that. You know, like when Atlanta, even like in Texas, I got family in Texas. When I take the kids to go visit Prairie View in Texas Southern, it was amazing. Like we had an experience in Houston that I was gonna take the students to go get something to eat because everybody loves a Waffle House now. Everybody wants to go to the Waffle House at Zaxby's, right?
When you get old, you can eat that stuff.
No, that's it's the worst to me. It's the worst food.
Now, right?
But my uncle who lived in Houston, he'll be here in a couple weeks. My uncle said, "Why you don't take me guys to the restaurant in Texas? We barbecue." So bring them to my house. So I took all the students to his house with my students from Portland, the Dante group, and man, they got there and seen these big old grills with smoked turkey, hamburgers, hot wings. So they're like, this is how it is. I said, you're gonna go to a restaurant at somebody's house. You know what I mean? Right. And so I said, so you guys pick another day to go to Zaxby's or Waffle House, or you know what I mean? But it's just a dynamic of the HBCUs that to me, there's nothing like it. Like I said, I like the PWIs. They're great institutions, they're great colleges. But if it's left up to me, my children, HBCUs, and that's the language I speak is HBCU language. I don't speak the PWI language because after learning so much about it, and I come from black people from Mississippi and Chicago and Georgia, you know what I mean? So that's what we know, and that's what we go on.
We always laugh about, well, you know everybody from Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia.
For real.
We're all from there, right? We are from there.
That's where.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call it a day too. Get me out on the road. I appreciate y'all.
Oh man, great
Nice to see you.
Everybody. Okay.
Make sure you let us know the upcoming events you got going on and running for office against 2020.
I'm not gonna run for office, but yeah, folks can find me online at Shikundi, CHUKUNDI. Shikundi Salisbury, and again, I'm here representing Phi Beta Sigma, so you can type in Seattle Sigmas to learn more about what we're doing. You most certainly could type in Tacoma Sigmas to learn about what the Tacoma chapter is doing here locally. I also represent several organizations that you can find out more about me on. Most notably, I would say what's relevant to this conversation is 100 Black Parents. That's the name of one of our nonprofits, and we have a group on Facebook, 100 Black Parents. And again, Bubbling Brown Sugar, which is an iconic high school dance competition that many people have heard of. It's been around since 1979, and most certainly is a legacy in Seattle and across the state. That's happening on Juneteenth weekend, June 17th at Garfield High School in Seattle, Washington. So yeah, lots of stuff to keep up on, but you can look me up on any of the platforms at Shikundi, CHUKUNDI. Thank you.
Bro.
And healthy is the new.
Well, yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about that. Yeah,
We all on that right now. That's nice. Good to see you.
All right, y'all. One
I'll
love.
give you a call later on. I appreciate you, bro.
Okay, one love. You too. What's up, bro? I see you.
That's your phone.
Okay. Oh, that's wait a minute. I remember you from Santa, right?
Easy.
Okay. All right, baby. One love.
That's like my older brother. Man. Good. We sat down. many occasions.
Yeah, come through, Robert.
Show me.
And the thing you talking about the bumping around the Garfield,
Yeah.
it's the truth.
I can't wait to see
Yeah,
it.
it's the truth.
I
It goes
love-
down.
I love step shows. We
Up
didn't
a
talk
little
about
bit,
that, about
So,
the fun, the other fun
I know.
stuff.
so
Step
for the
shows.
step shows, so
Coach Mike,
I'll say that. So,
scoot up a little bit so you can get into that frame with everybody.
is that cool?
Yeah, there you go. Now we got everybody.
So
Yeah.
my experience with the step shows. So I did the step show here in the state of Washington for 20 years. I was a director for 20 years.
Back to that.
And so that's why another reason why I never pledged anything. I had a chance to work with all the panel and council from Divine Nine. I worked with all of them through Seattle, through Oregon, through Washington, all over California. I've been to the Kappa House in LA, you know what I mean? On Crenshaw, I've been the Omegas. I got a nephew that's an Omega. There's nothing like a step show. There's nothing like it. When they get out there and they get to step on their canes, or the Deltas are doing their thing, and the Sigmas are doing their things, Alphas doing their black and gold thing. I've seen it all, and like I said, I respect it. I love it. I love the energy that they bring to the table. It's so.
It's your favorite. Yeah, at homecoming, that is.
It really is.
You talk about food and
Yeah.
all that.
I bring
That's what
everyone to the step show.
Yeah.
It's supposed to. Yeah.
Step shows are good. I just would love to see more, I guess, right here in this community around this. I don't know how we can put things
Oh, I
together.
think we got something brewing now.
Bro, I would love to see that, because, you know, my daughter was really adamant, and her friends are really adamant. Some folks that she hang, they're really adamant. They love to see that. My husband went to Miles. You ever heard of Miles? He went to Miles.
Yeah, Alabama.
From Alabama, you know.
Of course.
So
They recruited my son.
we just need to do more in the community around it. I am again the regional director of Big Brothers Big Sisters here in the community. And when I go out and I speak to people about mentorship, you know, we don't really get into this topic. You know, about giving different opportunities, having different options for the students to go to school. So I would love to connect with all of you on, you know, becoming mentors, number one, amplifying what we do, but more importantly, just talking about the HBCU experience, just the us.
100%.
Cultivating this, what is the name of the story now on Key 5? Cultivating
black culture.
Black culture. Cultivating black culture. I would love to hear more about.
Well, and I think if we can get a hub going and we can get like step shows, we can get you guys, we can get the whole full experience and can experience that kind of stuff. It'll change the game, because once again, if we want our people to continue to thrive and grow and do these amazing things, you know, it's all about those kids.
It's
All about the children.
It's all about them.
So many people want to, but if we could get it started, I bet we'd have lots of
I'll
action.
say this.
Lots of action.
Well, because we talked about this earlier. Having a relationship with the right people, knowing the right people, it's not about what you know, it's who you know, right? And so with me, when I started doing the step shows years and years ago, it built a lot of relations with a lot of the communities. And so I actually started doing Nike giveaway, shoe giveaway every year in my front yard with the fraternity and sorority. Yeah, we used to give away, right in our front yard, we used to give away, at the beginning of school, I give away like 80 pair of shoes, brand new from Nike, you know what I mean? And we did that because the fraternity and sororities would come out and help, free barbecue for everybody, live DJs. Shouts out to Don G, because he would help out. My brother Dartell, my brother Dre, and my brother Roscoe, a few other brothers, my cousin. We would do this, and so I really don't brag and boast about it, but I have so many newspaper articles on our program, and the HBCU is crazy. And I talk to the parents a lot about some of the experiences. I share the experience, and then just recently I've had a lot of schools reach out to me about my son's program. So my son works for this program while he's in college right now. There's a program here, it's a high school program, it's called Enhanced Preparatory.
Oh, yeah.
It's online tutoring, right? And so I tell everybody that you guys put your children in enhanced prayer. It's called Virtual Village. It's free, and they teach everybody. But one thing I'll say is they teach a lot of our black students how to pass SAT, ACT, and how to get grades. Because a lot of kids don't realize the higher your grade point average, the higher your test scores are, the more money you're gonna get for college. Yeah. It's like a job. And so I'll reiterate that and say it again. You students that are listening, the parents that are listening, make sure your children are hitting the books, because it's important. It's so important. And some people think because I'm a good athlete, I can jump, I can run, that's not going to get you in the door all the time. I'm going to tell you that. It's not going to get you in the door. But hit them books. And there's nothing wrong with being the smartest kid in the classroom. There's nothing wrong with raising your hand. There's nothing wrong with holding those teachers and those principals accountable. That's what they get paid for. You know what I mean? And so I've had a chance to sit in on so many conversations with principals, with directors of the school district, with students, with parents. And people always say, why? Well, we're giving you that answer now. So there's no reason for you not to tap into it, because it's there. And so anyway, I can help you, or I can direct you to the right phone numbers, the right people. I'll do that. And we're sitting at the table with some of the amazing individuals that can do some of this work. But once again, enhanced preparatory.
I love that.
I
it is free.
It's free. It's free.
Free help.
It's free. It's free help.
We love that.
Yeah. And you know what? And when I say they have some of the best tutors, some of the best. And I'm not just saying because my son works from, besides him, there's other tutors. You tap in a lot. Like I listened to my son today, and I was listening to some of the students tapping in. And these are going to be students that are going to be going to college, because they're going to have the right test scores, because they're going to have the right grades, and they're serious about the academics. And that's the way right there. Get them academics, hit them books.
And so my life throughout high school wasn't my main focus. Softball was, which was wrong. That's not what I teach my kids now. But those small 1 point will do a lot. And at a HBCU, if you have a 3.7, at least at Cookman, you could get $100,000.
Yeah, 4 hours.
So also when you look at a lot of these PWIs, 3.7
won't get you in the door.
Won't get you in the door.
That's true.
So those are things to look at. And then if you are able to get that free ride, any other money or scholarship you get goes in your pocket.
In your pocket.
Yep.
Definitely. That's real.
And there's so many scholarships right now that are out. So
I got
right
my
now.
senior year, I received $40,000 extra on top of my full ride. And I paid all my bills. I got things together. Bought a car, yeah. So it's all knowing those people, those
But then working hard too.
Yeah.
Like you said, just
It takes
working
work.
hard.
It takes
Working
work.
hard.
building those connections
Yeah.
too, because I received a scholarship from the head of my department just because all of my teachers are talking to them. They hear my name multiple times,
And you're serious.
100%.
My son just got a scholarship from one of the heads in his department at Langston University, because there was something going on with the finances, and so I called the president of the school. The president led me to the dean of his department, and they wrote him a $10,000 check, and they waived everything clear for him this year. So, and that was amazing. But that happens at a lot of the universities, and people don't realize that parents always know there's a reserve fund at all these schools. They don't tell you. They're not going to tell you. Closed mouth don't get fed, but they do have reserve funds at the HBCUs. I had a young man who was one of my students who attended Grambling State. And he got like $75,000 of scholarship money. I had another young lady who went to Grambling, and then her friend, who was one of my students, Keonnie Turner, who I sent to LaWanda Pearson to play baseball at Clark Atlanta. She got scholarships, and her family went to Tuskegee, but she ended up at Clark Atlanta. So you guys gotta open your mouth. You know what I mean? You gotta open your mouth.
It sucks to sit in that financial aid offline, but
again, like we're talking, a lot of youth right now just don't have that ability to advocate for themselves.
100%. No guidance.
No guidance, but that's why I believe in mentorship. Even if it's my daughter has a mentor. I'm in the business of mentorship, one-on-one. That's my secret sauce. I believe in that. That's what I do. But at the same time, she has her own mentor. Some things that I might not be able to share with her. So we have got to find ways, if nothing else, but to connect with counselors and people in the schools to have more conversations like this with a group of students that are willing and parents that want to learn more. Because there are many folks that right here, they want their children to be successful.
Definitely.
But again, if the child doesn't know how to advocate for themselves and the parents are not equipped with the information, what next?
Well, here, let me say this. So, like you
How can
said,
it get motivated?
it's who you know. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's who you know. And we have some very powerful people that are this color right here
I believe
in
that.
high positions right here in Tacoma. And I'm connected to those people. And like I said, my experiences, like I said, I don't brag or boast about it, but my goal is to lead you to the right person. I can't do a lot of work. So some of you guys know I was in a real bad car accident years ago, and so it made me have 4 strokes. And so I lost some of my memory. So I was like a vegetable for like a year. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. And so I just kept praying. But now everything is coming back to me. And so the resources that I do have, I share them with like my cousin. I share them with people like you guys, because if I can't do the work, I'll put you in front of the right people that can do the work for you. I mean, nowadays I'm behind closed doors.
Connector.
There you go, right there. That part right there, that piece.
Love that.
And that's needed. And so I think the Most High put that in me, instilled that in me through the journey that I've been through. It's been a heck of a journey. I'm still in therapy right now, but I think He sat me down for a reason, to show that I poured into so many people's lives, and now those people are pouring into me, and I can connect those people with the same resources that I had. So that's what I'm about, is put people together.
And I think it's very important that Mike shouldn't have to put himself on a pedestal, because what he's done is written on the walls through this whole city. You know, and I don't take him and our relationship lightly, or anybody taking what he's done for our community lightly. He's changed multiple kids' lives, and there has been some that fell to the crack, but that's not on him. He's done more than he has done. He has 5 kids? I don't know. I'm not gonna 5 kids. I don't want to put no wrong number out there. But,
You hit it on the right spot.
Yeah,
5 kids and 6 grandchildren.
yeah, but by the time his time is over on this earth, he has parented and taught and mentored over thousands of kids, and you don't see that in everybody's community. You don't see Black people doing that on the regular, and I just he's doing the same job that his father did when he was growing up and when he was around my father. I won't stand for anything less than him getting his flowers, and he shouldn't. I don't know why. His time's going to come where it's put on the pedestal that it needs to be on. Tacoma and Washington moves a little bit slower, so things like this happening in any other predominantly Black state, you might as well be in the White House or the office for Senate or something like that, But things move a lot slower and different out here. And I just wanted to make sure that people know this man has changed many lives, young and old, and that's not a normal thing, especially in the Black community. He hasn't given up on kids. He's sat there by their side and watched. He's pulled money out of his own pocket or helped find how to get kids money that couldn't afford to even go to school. So we cannot take that lightly. We can't just act like that's just normal. We can just order that on the menu. That's cooked up fresh in his own kitchen. You gotta know him. He's a cook. So
I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm process. And they're very nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people will act like that's just regular, and it's not regular at all. And I won't stand for any disrespect, in any sort when it comes to this man right here and what he's done for the community in the Hilltop and just in multiple Black young men and young women's lives. So I'm going to leave it at that point. But
I think that's good. Like I said, I don't like to. Me, I'm a real quiet person when it comes to it. I don't take a lot of accolades and stuff, although I've been given a lot of them. But I also credit my wife, Sincere Hankins. She's been like the backbone to a lot of the Sincere here. She's been by my side every step of the way, so she gets a lot of credit as well. I'll give her more credit than I'll take credit. You know what I mean? Because in order to be a Black king, you gotta have a Black queen. You know what I mean? and I take that to heart. And she's been very supportive through this journey that we're going through as a family, as a relationship right now, with me having the situation that I had. And so I just want to say thank you to her. And then all of the brothers and sisters that have poured into my life, especially through this journey. Man, so many of them, my brother Dartel, my brother Corey, my brother Dre, my brother Blackwell, Dr. Audrey Terrell. I want to tell you guys, I'm saying this loud, Dr. Audrey Terrell, when I say major, she's a black woman from Detroit, Texas, Oakland, 2,500 people head of General Motors, retired from General Motors. Her son was Kevin Durant's personal assistant for 8 years. She's one of my mentors. She started taking the Black College tours with me about 5 years ago, and she's been taking students from Portland. So we put a lot of students from Portland in school because of her, and because of so DOTI program. That's like my sister program, the MOCA. And so it would be right. And then her right-hand man, Tony, who's a cameraman who worked at Comcast and did all our filmography stuff. I'll be wrong if I didn't mention his name as well. So I got to send shouts out to them. But so many people have poured into my lives, and I just want to say thank you. I'm very thankful for that. I love all of you, and it's awesome.
This is, I've been here for twice.
Yeah.
And I have never, this is my first time knowing about who you are.
Yeah.
And I've never known about the HBCU tours until later, none of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to take, but even though my daughter's moving on,
Right.
I'm still here. So whatever we can do together, whatever it can, whatever we can do, I'm here. I'm available for whatever, to get some of these students to where they want to be.
Yeah. And I think it's good that we all connect, because they always say this is a village, you know what I'm saying? And it takes people to run the village, you know what I mean? And so when we say that, like I said, I grew up in an all-crip neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? I come from that background. I come from the streets, and then my family come from the streets too, in Chicago and Los Angeles. And so I've seen it my whole life, you know what I mean? And so when I'm able to take a child off the corner and put them in an environment that's different and they can see something different, like I said, when I took those kids across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, or when we went to Martin Luther King's house and we walked down Auburn Avenue, just to see the expression on their face was amazing. When I took them to go see Martin Luther King's gravesite and Coretta Scott King's gravesite in the floating waters, the slave museums, it's amazing. And so when we work with our children, when we mentor these children, to me it's special. It's a gift, because everybody can't work with kids. We say it's hard-headed. Give me the hard-heads. Give me the ones that we say are bad, because to me they're not bad, they're talented. You know what I'm saying? The ones that you say are insubordinate and all that, just because they're not at your level, they're gifted in other ways. And many of those kids are some of the most gifted out there. And I'll take those children any day. You know what I mean? I love working with those kids that we call challenged. It's amazing, because they are challenged. They're gifted and challenged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for this time together.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This won't be the last one. This is just the start of some more. So
Yep. Thank you for having me.
This
This is so good. I'm like, it sounds like, why didn't I know about, I didn't know about MOCA.
Yeah.
Like, we searched so many different organizations to find a space. Like, of course, Delta Sigma Theta. We're members of, you ever heard of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated?
Yeah.
I was the president here in Tacoma for a long time.
Yeah.
Just trying to find spaces where we could, be together,
Right.
so that my child would know that there was always spaces that you could
Right.
show up and be yourself, and and feel good and safe about it. And I've never heard of it, but it's not too late. I'm glad you're still around, and we are here, and whatever. Like I said, I mean, just because mine leaving, we still need some mentorship. There's more work to be done, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And your daughter, and you guys have a chance. So I work with Chris Spivey, who is another a great person. And Spivey, Chris came to me probably about a month ago, and he shared something with me that was very personally, he said, Mike, man, you've been talking about HBCUs for like the last 15 years. He said, everybody's on this kick now of talking about it, but you've been doing that. And that was one of my main things when I came back to the community is that I wanted for our black children to see something different, you know what I'm saying? Rather than just selling drugs or stealing cars or being called out in the classroom or being insubordinate, because I was a challenged child, you know what I'm saying? I did some things that I don't like to talk about, but when I was young, I was treacherous, you know what I was. But I grew up around that, you know what I mean? But as I got older and I left here and I got a chance to go out and travel and see the world and see different, and I went to the HBCU. When I went to Central State, I'm like her. I hated school. I was not a school person. I hated school. When I got to Ohio, I had family in Cincinnati. I wanted to hang out in the projects. That was one thing I wanted to hang out. That was big me. I'm that type of person. Take me where our people are, where you can get greasy food, where there's hood people. Put me in that environment. I'm a thrive. You know what I'm saying? But I learned that there was another part of life. You know what I mean? And my mother was an educator. My dad was an educator. My mom has 3 masters and was working on her doctorate until she got breast cancer. And so it stopped her from getting her doctorate. But just going back to listening to what my mom and my dad taught me, even though we experienced some of the things we did, they said never stop learning. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to be a student of the game. My dad worked with a lot of students and a lot of children, and so he instilled that in me. And then having my own children, and I was able to talk to my own children. My oldest son, Dante, was one of the first students that I took to Morehouse and took to Langston University years and years ago. He's married now with his own children, working his own job, living his own life in Arizona. And then my daughter, Michael, who got a chance to go to Spelman and do some things at Spelman. And my youngest daughter now is a sophomore in high school, Lincoln High School. She's an honor student, and she wants to go to Texas Southern to study law. And so to me, that says a lot for my grandchildren, because now my grandchildren are looking at them, you know what I mean? And so it's not just about the family, but the village. We need that village aspect, because we always talk about the village. Well, let's pour into the village so we can help the rest of these babies get to another level and see something different, you know what I mean? We're losing too many of them.
Well, I am definitely here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Me too.
I'm here.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
And Carrie, we appreciate you.
Yes, thanks for
Hey,
having
you,
us.
because
Appreciate you guys.
he was part of the story, so he was part of the branch. Carrie played basketball for me, and Carrie's like my nephew, and I know his family real well. My wife and his cousin are godbrother and godsister. You know what I'm saying? So that's amazing. But Carrie comes from a great background. His brother played basketball at Gonzaga University,
Right.
and he played football at Western. You know what I mean? And so now Carrie is going to be sponsoring the HBCU tour through his organization. And so I'm excited to work with Carrie and some of the things that the podcast, and we're working on the HBCU forum for Saturday, May 13th. We're going to have a forum at the Village. It's Robert Joyce is another influential black man in this community who's worked with a ton of black students. He's a black artist as well. And so him and his family, they have a building now where we can meet at. So we're going to do the HBCU panel at his building, and we're going to support that black business. You know what I mean?
All right.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
If you guys want to support any other black businesses, go ahead and check me out downtown Tacoma.
Absolutely.
I run and operate a clothing brand called ETC Tacoma. We've been open for going on 9 years this year. And yeah, we do a lot of stuff in the community and the whole 9. So you can follow me there, find me there, check me out, hang out.
One of a kind items.
One of a kind. Might not be able to get your hands on those one of a kind items, but
Post it on Instagram,
Like
gone.
they're gone.
we got some new stuff for you guys always. So
It's amazing.
For sure. Follow me on Instagram, Kyra, KAIRA_Kabata.
Again, I'm Monique DuBose. Follow me on Instagram at The Resilient You Tribe. I'm also the director again for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. But the secret sauce is definitely one-on-one mentorship right here in Tacoma, over on Cedar Avenue. Come by, check us out, amplify our name, and become a part of our organization.
And I will say this too for all you students listening, to your parents. For the MOCA program, we have a MOCA Instagram. It's under MOCA Mentoring. And if you go on the Instagram page for MOCA Mentoring, you'll see all the college stuff on there. There's a lot of highlights on there of colleges. And then MOCA has, man, we have so many newspaper articles and pictures from, man, all over Tuskegee, Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, Texas Southern Prairie View. There's so much things. And so parents, please tap in. If not to me, tap into one of these individuals, because they're here for a reason, and they can make a difference in your child's life. And so, like I said, I'm behind the scenes now, but the connector, like Miss Monique said, the connector, let's connect and make it happen. And we'll be doing this again too.
And again, sororities and fraternities, definitely Delta Sigma Theta. Check us out on Tacoma Alumni. I'm here representing them as well.
Definitely.
TAC.
Access granted.
Yes.
Hey, it's a wrap. Access granted. Much love to all the HBCUs. There's like 109 of them. So pour into them. I don't care which one you go to. Just get that education, get that degree. We love you.
3, 2, 1.